I've heard it said that grief comes at you in waves. Well, today was a big one. Have you ever gone through periods in your life where you felt like kind of weighed down by your circumstances? I think the best way I could describe it might be like cinder blocks tied to your ankles, right? Like you're shuffling along and you're able to do things and function, but things kind of feel like they're moving at half speed, or that there's some deep resistance that you have to like push through this current that you don't normally have to face. It's Friday morning at the end of a fairly resistant and unproductive week for me at this point. I went to bed with this notion that I would make up for lost productivity. I'd get established in the routine of things. I'd really knock out some key objectives, leave the week on a high note. And so I'm sat here in my office, I fired everything up, and I'm staring at the wall of tasks, the array of things that I might focus my attention on this morning. And I'm noticing that it all kind of converges, all the text files and all the emails and all the Slack messages and all the to-do lists. They just sort of like merge into one stew of, alphabet soup. And I find myself trying to pick letters out of the stew and arrange them in some sensible order that can give me some direction to kind of start from and take off, And so as I was beginning to straighten out some order in this kind of stew and start to focus on some productive efforts, I started paying more and more attention to the resistance that was here, as those tasks sort of got underway. And I recognized that I was able to tie this resistance back. I tried to follow it back behind me throughout the day up to that point. And I was looking at specific moments that were particularly hard to negotiate. Going back even before, I recognized for some reason I didn't sleep very well last night. I was up until like 2:30 in the morning, and I was just reading. I didn't really have a real reason for it. It's just that my mind wouldn't shut off. There was this one particular moment that stood out to me when I did actually wake up after that little sleep that I got. I grabbed my phone and I looked at it almost first thing in the morning to see what time it was, and I noticed that I had a text message from a cousin of mine. They had sent me a photo of themselves just as they were about to hop on a plane. A few days prior to that, we had met alongside some other relations for a funeral. And there was this twinge of remorse that I had when I looked at this photo because of the separation and the separateness that, we were experiencing in the moment. I don't meet very often, physically with my extended family, and I found myself wondering when the next time I would get that opportunity would be. I think we grieve when we feel separate from each other. I think we grieve when we feel separate from ourselves. And that tension that you feel in your heart and mind is your inner nature pleading for you to reunite. And so there's this battle of the conscious mind and the ego against the subconscious mind and the inner knowing about how to approach any given moment in your day. And oftentimes I think we busy ourselves with unimportant things in order to distract ourselves from this separateness and this tension that is there, all the time. And so the next thing I knew, I flipped on the camera here and I just thought I would sit with you for a moment and be together. If you're grieving yourself, I want you to know that I'm here with you. And none of us are separate in this. I think it's actually easier than any of us imagine to untether ourselves from the tension and the restraint that's there. It's merely a matter of acknowledging it and acknowledging that we've done it to ourselves. And in that moment of acknowledgement, we have the key to our own release. I ask that you release yourself from this isolation and from this restriction and constraint. And with that in mind, I will sort of package up everything that I've been, swimming in today, and I will offer it up for release also. Thanks for watching.